Good eve, YouTube. Welcome to Project Universal Code, a channel set in place so I can express my thoughts about the manga that I want to make, which I would hope would turn into an anime. But that's not quite it. Aside from that, I want to get some help from the community. Basically, I can't just ask for ideas and not explain anything. In fact, while attempting to write the manga on a piece of notebook paper, I ended up explaining everything about how this universe works. Everything. Although writing pen it looks a bit messy. But what's on this paper are the essentials. It's how everything works, and I even went into how it began on the back. I don't believe in God myself, but I gotta make him anyway. So, this is not going to sound very clear to you guys when I read it. Mainly because there's probably some spelling errors, vocabulary errors, and just plain wrong wording. Like I start out by saying that the galaxy Periphery is a place of seemingly no origin because nobody knows about it, to, on the back, talking about how it all began. Now, I'm going to read this paper to you guys, and just to give you guys a general idea. Okay. Work with me, seriously. It's not all that well organized. The galaxy Periphery, a place of seemingly no origin, as anyone who knew of it had been forgotten. The oldest recording of Periphery's history showed an organization of power from the Stratane system, and it started there and conned to most other systems in the galaxy. It was organized as so. Farron, which is basically the leader, they hold the power of the Universal Code, which I'll explain later on in this paper, and they lead a system balancing civilization. And the Aislo, basically they're like Imperial Guards. There are two defenders in each system in a galaxy. They're considered Galaxian Guardians, but are just called Galaxian Aislo. It's basically just a group. Oh yeah, they're the first to respond when the system is in danger. There are also planetary guardians, which differ in number depending on the amount of planets in an area. Each are very powerful, defending the Ultima Code, which resides within each of the planets. And then Sierra, which are what they all are, except for the planetary guardians, which will be explained later. Sierra are basically just what they call human life forms. And Sierra are human life forms residing in the galaxy of Periphery. Okay, so here's where I get to the explanation of everything. Universal Code is the most powerful force in the universe, found in fragments among a galaxy. One full piece of Universal Code can be combined with another to be twice as powerful, but it is never necessary to control one system. If a Farron is killed, the Universal Code is granted to whomever defeats him or her. However, you'd have to touch their weapon in order for that to happen. Anyway, if a Farron becomes rebellious or reckless with their power, they can be stopped by a Galaxian Aislo who have proven themselves by defeating the spirits of planetary Aislo who grant them temporarily with a fragment of the Ultima Code. They have to go through each planet in their system and go up against a planetary guardian, which won't come out themselves because planetary Aislo are extremely powerful. They're freaking monsters. But they send their spirits out to fight, and they are of they're of the same power as whoever's fighting them. Now, when they defeat each planetary Aislo on each planet in the system, and they get a full piece of, or they get a full piece of the Ultima Code, which matches the power of the Universal Code. This is so, this is so the Universal Code's power can't be abused. And neither can the Ultima Code's power, because once the Ultima Code's power is used, and the galaxy, or excuse me, the system is safe again, it goes back into the planets. So it's like checking out a book, really, except that book that really kicks ass, quite literally. You may want to see what's going on down here, since I keep ducking on you guys. Alright. Ultima Code resides in every planet in the system, divided equally among the number of planets that there are in a galaxy. In its system, excuse me. I really screwed up there. Okay. Combined into full piece, Ultima Code contains the same amount of power as Universal Code, only it's borrowed and returns to the planets when the system is safe once again, so it cannot be abused. Planetary ice flow spirits. Okay, I've already explained a lot of this. Oh, except for this part. If an unfamiliar power tries to go onto a planet, like someone from a different system tries to go onto the planet, the planetary ice flow themselves will come out and battle them. Or, in this case, they'll completely stomp their asses. Like I said, the planetary ice flow are monsters. So the true planetary ice flow will destroy it with tremendous strength. Planetary ice flow devoted their power to controlling planets before an organization of power was formed. They have more power than the Farron, but have long ago devoted their power to controlling planets. Yeah, I repeated myself. I didn't write it twice. I just tried to I was just getting ahead of myself. Anyway, the planets. What was it? Okay. But long ago, devoted their power to controlling planets as they wouldn't be... Oh, as they wouldn't be safe on their own. Basically, if something goes to attack the planet, the planetary ice flow will defend the planet. And it's their duty. When the organization of power took effect, they offered their help and joined, but kept their place as guardians of the planets. Okay, now, this side note. The offensive power of any Sierra is stored within their personal weaponry. This makes it impossible to use another Sierra's weapon, but still possible to lift. Because in this universe, a proper burial is with their weapon. Their weapon is basically their tombstone. That's if they don't have any kin. If they have kin, then the weapon is passed down. Okay, so I'll get to how that works later on. I'm running out of time in this video, and I'll have to make another part. I'm sorry I couldn't come at you guys in, stunning HD. My device for that broke. I'm very disappointed with Samsung. So, I'll continue this right after this jump cut. Alright. So, Galaxian ice flow reside on planets near the edge of their respective system. In the case of Stratane, this planet is called Chloe. And a lot of the planets are actually named after Greek words. I made this up a really long time ago. I mean, a long time ago, these weren't even anime characters. These were people. They weren't even people. No. They're like shapes. They're celestial shapes. I didn't really name them all that well either. You had a moon, you had a sun, and basically I used that as symbolization later on, and I realized, okay, well, it's not going to work the way I think it is. Okay. I tried to start it over here by entering the current generation, but I felt I wasn't finished yet. So, a Seer's weapon is granted with a powerful ability when exposed to either a shard of Universal Code or Ultimate Code. These abilities can generate from either the weapon or the wielder. The reason this works is because when the wielder grabs the weapon, it forms a circuit, pretty much. And they are bound to that weapon. Okay. Oh yeah, they're passed down by blood. Let me give an explanation now. When a weapon is passed down, it forms to what the wielder would find useful over time. For instance, it grows with the wielder, and or it bends shape and possibly changes into another weapon. If multiple kin are available, the weapon divides. When a weapon is passed down from or the weapon will divide into, let's say they had 3 kids. The weapon would be divided amongst them. This doesn't necessarily divide power, though. But in the case of a Galaxian Ice Bone, the power isn't divided equally. One person gets more power than all the rest because they're the closest member of the gene pool. They're then appointed to be the next generation of Galaxian Ice Bone. When okay, this weapon the weaponry doesn't apply to Planetary Ice Flow because they don't use weapons. In battle, they attack by shape-shifting their ligaments with tremendous power, originating from the Ultimaverse, when it was a full structure. Now, remember how I said that not much is known about Peripherized history? Well, here I go back and I explain everything. So, and I even made up like a religious sort of thing, kind of, I guess. Thought it was pretty good. Where was I? The universe began with the awakening of the Flarites. Yeah, I made that up. There were 7 Flarites, which are basically massive green elf-like gods who orbited around a structure consisting of what is now Universal Code and Ultimate Code, called the Ultimaverse. They had awakened after a 3 billion year slumber after the deconstruction of the last universe. So it's a paradox. I'm not kidding. I explain everything. Oh, yeah. And then basically they rebuild it when they wake up. So the Flarites open their eyes and slowly reach toward the Ultimaverse in unison, touching and absorbing the power equally. The Ultimaverse exploded and the Flarites divided themselves into thousands amongst the universe. Each sub-Flarite was sent with a shard of the... Oh crap, that's where I stopped. I ran out of room on the paper. Each sub-Flarite was sent with a shard of the Ultima Code, which was pretty much most of the outer layer. The inner layer was made up of Universal Code, which had no point, so wherever... when the planets were... okay. The outer part of the Ultimaverse exploded. The inner part exploded a little bit later on when the sub-Flarites started creating planets. Sub-Flarites, by the way, are the race that the planetary ice flow are. That's about as far as I got. But they begin to create the universe and stuff. The rest of this isn't even on here. I'm just going to go by what I know. I mean, this at least shows that I know everything there is to know about my universe. How it works, the division of power, everything. So basically, yeah, sub-Flarites are planetary ice flow, and they devote their power to balancing civilization on a planet. Now, the Farron balances civilization around the system. so everything works out, you know. So yeah, do forgot their names. Oh shit. Do subflarites die? Well, yes, they do. Of course, their power is the power is basically sent on to the next kin. So yes, flarites can procreate, but eventually, the universe ends again, and then the flarites harvest all the Ultima Code and Universal Code, and they build it back together again. Now, Universal Code, by the way, it's blown up, or it exploded much later, and it landed wherever. Since its practical use was, wasn't necessary at the time. The idea is you go around, you collect fragments of the Universal Code. If you get a complete piece, you can hold power, or you hold power in an area. Ultima Code, again, can only be borrowed. There you go. Those are the basics. I'm gonna be posting some videos soon showing some weapons I've drawn. Since I can't draw anime, people, if I were to give you guys a description and some of you guys were to draw those and send them in to me, of course, yes, I'm gonna credit you. I'll make a video thanking you and stuff. So, yeah, I won't leave anyone out. I won't leave anyone hanging. Anybody who wants to join Project Universal Code is welcome to. I, in fact, would encourage that, please. I can't do this on my own. If you have any ideas on a storyline, like, I already know the basics, or some of the basics of the storyline, how it's going to work, but it's just those small details that just aren't there. It creates a huge gap. But yes, please help, or please support. I'm not asking you to subscribe. In fact, I'd rather you send a contact request than subscribe. Now, some of you might have sent contact requests out, basically asking for help on my own, But if anybody out there could dedicate their time and help out this project, yes, you're going to be credited. I can consider you a staff member. Okay? Alright. So I'm gonna upload another video, and it's gonna show you guys some of the weaponry I've drawn, since that's about the best I can do is draw weapons. I know you might not think, okay, this 20-minute video just wasn't worth it, but you guys wouldn't know anything about it. You'd be like, why is the thing called Project Universal Code? I don't know. It's because I want to make it a project. I want people to help me out. If you can, please do so. Send a contact request. I might send a contact request to you. And yes, thank you for helping out. You don't have to subscribe. Just send a contact request. I can't emphasize that enough. Alright, so I will upload a video showing you guys weaponry. I can't emphasize that enough either. I will see you later.